Imagine coming home to find a truck with your belongings and a stranger your wife calls true love. My name is Donald, and this is the story of how my perfect family fell apart in one day. Camila, my wife, betrayed me, but I'm not giving up. I'm taking control. Are you ready to find out how I legitimately took revenge and made them regret it? Sit back and relax. It's going to be exciting. My name's Donald Kelly, a 38-year-old engineer from Detroit, and up until last week, I thought I had it all figured out. 16 years married to Camila, a 15-year-old daughter named Sophie, and a steady job at General Motors keeping the assembly lines humming. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was mine, until a single phone call tore it apart. It was a crisp Thursday afternoon, the kind where the Michigan sun tricks you into thinking spring's arrived early. I was elbow deep in a gearbox, grease streaking my forearms, when my phone buzzed in my pocket. Wiping my hands on a rag, I fished it out and saw the name, Pete, my neighbor. Odd. Pete wasn't the type to call mid-shift unless something was up. Donald, you gotta get home, man. His voice crackled through, tight with urgency. There's a moving truck in your driveway. Some guys are hauling your stuff out. Furniture, boxes, the works. Camila's there too. What's going on? My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step going downstairs. What do you mean, a truck? Camila's there. I stammered, my mind racing to catch up. Yeah, positive, Pete said. She's directing them like at the damn garage sale. You better move fast. I didn't even hang up, just shoved the phone back in my pocket and bolted across the factory floor, my steel-toed boots pounding the concrete. My supervisor, a grizzled guy named Hank, looked up from his clipboard as I barged into his office without knocking. Hank, I need to go. Now, I said, breathless. Someone's robbing my house. Pete just called. They're taking everything. His bushy brows shot up. Go, he barked, waving me off. Handle it. Keys already in hand, I sprinted to my pickup in the lot, the cold air biting my lungs. Tires squealed as I peeled out, weaving through traffic like a man possessed. My knuckles whitened around the steering wheel, thoughts spinning out of control. A burglary in broad daylight? With Camila there? None of it made sense, yet deep down, a sick feeling told me this wasn't just thieves. 10 minutes later, I screeched into my subdivision, a quiet row of brick houses near the river. There was a white moving van parked crookedly in my driveway, back doors flung open. Two guys in worn hoodies were wrestling my leather recliner. My recliner, up the ramp. And standing there, cool as you please, was Camila, arms crossed, chatting with a tall, wiry guy I'd never seen before. He had a smug grin, like he owned the place. I threw the truck into park and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the hinges rattled. What the hell is this? I roared, marching toward them. Camila turned, her dark eyes narrowing like I was the intruder. Calm down, Donald, she said, her voice clipped. I'm leaving. This is Trevor, my first love. We're taking what's mine. The words hit like a sucker punch. Trevor? First love? My brain short-circuited, but my eyes darted to the stranger. He leaned against the van, smirking, all sharp cheekbones and a faded leather jacket. Hey, man, he said, voice dripping with arrogance. No hard feelings, right? No hard feelings? I echoed, incredulous. My fists clenched, but before I could do something stupid, I caught the movers pausing, watching the show unfold. I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone instead. We'll see about that. 911. What's your emergency? The dispatcher answered. There's a theft at my house, I said, forcing my voice steady. 1412, Riverbend Lane. People are taking my stuff. I need officers here now. Camila's face twisted. Theft? Are you serious, Donald? This is my half. Your half. I shot back. Last I checked, you don't just load up a van and call it yours. That's not how this works. She opened her mouth to argue, but Trevor stepped forward, puffing out his chest. Back off, buddy. She's made her choice. I ignored him, locking eyes with Camila. 16 years, Cam. 16 years, and this is how you do it. Before she could answer, sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Two patrol cars rolled up, lights flashing, and a pair of officers stepped out. One stocky with a buzz cut, the other lean and all business. The movers froze mid-step, the recliner teetering on the ramp. All right, folks, the lean cop said, hand resting on his belt. Someone want to explain? My wife's trying to take my furniture, I said, pointing at the van. That house belongs to my dad. Legally, it's his. The stuff inside? I paid for it. Check the receipts. The stocky officer raised an eyebrow and turned to Camila. Ma'am? That true? Her jaw tightened. It's our house. We've lived here together. Doesn't matter. I cut in. Title's in my father's name. You want to split assets? File for divorce first. The lean cop sighed, rubbing his temple. Ma'am, if you don't have legal claim or court papers, this is unauthorized. Put all back. Camila glared daggers at me, but the movers shrugged and started unloading. Trevor muttered something under his breath, kicking the gravel, while I stood there, heart hammering, adrenaline still spiking. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. As the cops supervised the return of my recliner, I caught Camila whispering to Trevor, her face a mix of fury and desperation. Then the front door creaked open, and Sophie stepped out, backpack slung over one shoulder. She froze, taking the scene, cops, van, her mom with some random guy. Dad, she called, voice small. What's happening? I exhaled, forcing a calm I didn't feel. Come here, sophomore. We need to talk. The air felt thick as Sophie stood in the doorway, her wide hazel eyes darting between me, the moving van, and the cops directing the movers to haul my recliner back inside. Camila shot her a quick glance, then turned away, whispering something to Trevor that made his smirk falter. I waved Sophie over, my voice steady despite the chaos churning inside me. Come here, sophomore. Let's talk. She hesitated, then shuffled across the lawn, her sneakers scuffing the grass. The cops were busy, and the movers grumbled as they worked, giving us a moment alone on the porch. I sat her down on the steps, the cold concrete biting through my jeans, and took a deep breath. Your mom's leaving, I said, keeping it simple. She's going with that guy, Trevor. Sophie's brows furrowed, but she didn't look surprised, just confused. Leaving? Like for good. Her voice was soft, almost testing the words. Yeah, I said, watching her closely. She was trying to take half the house with her, but the cops stopped it. The house is Grandpa's, and the stuff's mine. She didn't plan this out too well. She nodded slowly, picking at a loose thread on her backpack. Then, almost too casually, she said, Oh, well, I guess that makes sense. Mom's been talking about Trevor forever. My heart stuttered. Forever? I echoed, leaning closer. What do you mean? Sophie shrugged, avoiding my gaze. You know, how he's her first love. She said he went to Europe for work years ago, but now he's back, and it's like fate or something. She told me a while ago, maybe last summer. The world tilted. Last summer? That was 9 months ago. 9 months of secrets, of Camila smiling at me over dinner while spinning fairy tales for her daughter. My throat tightened, but I kept my tone even. So, you knew she was planning this? Not this, Sophie said quickly, finally meeting my eyes. Not the truck and all. Just that she missed him. She said you were a good guy, Dad, but Trevor was her soulmate. I thought it was just talk. Just talk. I repeated it, the bitter laugh slipping out. And what did you think about that? Her soulmate. She shifted uncomfortably, hugging her backpack like a shield. I don't know. She seemed happy when she talked about him. Like really happy. I figured if he made her feel that way, maybe it was okay. Okay. My voice cracked despite my effort to stay calm. Sophie, she's leaving us, me, you, this family, for some guy she hasn't seen in decades. You think that's okay? Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked down, cheeks flushing, and I could see the gears turning in her head. Before I could press further, Camila's voice cut through the yard. Sophie, come here, she called, waving her over to where she stood with Trevor near the van. Sophie glanced at me, uncertain, but I nodded. Go on, hear her out. She stood and trudged over, leaving me on the steps, my mind racing. 9 months. My daughter had known for 9 months and never said a word. Had she been rooting for this? For her mom to ditch me? I watched as Camila pulled Sophie aside, speaking low and fast, Trevor looming nearby with that smug grin back in place. Sophie's shoulders slumped, and she nodded a few times, but her face was unreadable from where I sat. The cops wrapped up the last of my furniture back inside, and one of them, the lean guy, ambled over to me. Looks like we're done here, he said. She can't take anything without a court order. You pressing charges? I shook my head. Not yet. Let's see what she does next. He tipped his hat. Smart. Call us if it escalates. With that, they drove off, leaving the van, Camila, Trevor, and a simmering silence behind. Camila marched back to me, Sophie trailing a step behind. This isn't over, Donald, she snapped, her eyes blazing. I deserve my share, and I'm getting it, one way or another. Your share of what? I shot back, standing up. You've got no claim to this house, and you know it. If you want to fight, Take it to court. Trevor stepped forward, puffing up again. Watch your tone, man. She's not alone anymore. I ignored him, locking eyes with Camila. 16 years, Cam. You could have talked to me. Instead, you sneak around, drag Sophie into it, and pull this stunt? Who are you? Her jaw tightened. But before she could answer, Sophie spoke up, her voice small but firm. Mom, why didn't you tell Dad? You said you'd figure it out together. Camila froze, caught off guard. It wasn't that simple, sophomore. You wouldn't understand. Try me, Sophie said, crossing her arms. Because right now, it looks like you lied to both of us. The air went still. Trevor shifted, clearly annoyed, but Camila's face softened for a split second. Guilt, maybe, before hardening again. I don't owe anyone an explanation, she said, turning to me. You'll hear from my lawyer. She grabbed her purse from the van, motioned to Trevor, and stormed off to his car. A beat-up sedan parked across the street. Sophie stayed put, watching them go, her expression a mix of hurt and something sharper. Anger, maybe. The van guys, done unloading, peeled out without a word, leaving us alone in the driveway. Soph, I said quietly, stepping closer. What else did she tell you? She turned, eyes glistening but steady. She said you'd be fine without her, that you're strong, and I should be happy for her. But, I don't know, Dad. It doesn't feel right anymore. I exhaled, the weight of her words sinking in. It's not right, and we're not done figuring this out. You with me? She nodded, a small, determined spark lighting her face. Yeah, I'm with you. As Trevor's car sped off, I knew this was just the beginning. Camila thought she'd blindsided me, but she'd underestimated one thing. I wasn't letting go of my life, or my daughter, without a fight. And I had a plan brewing she'd never see coming. The house felt eerily quiet after Camila and Trevor sped off, leaving Sophie and me standing in the driveway, the fading growl of a sedan echoing down Riverbend Lane. The moving van was gone, the cops too, and my recliner sat safely back in the living room. But the mess they'd left behind wasn't furniture. It was us. I glanced at Sophie, her arms crossed tight, her jaw set in a way I hadn't seen before. She was mad, hurt, and maybe finally seeing through her mom's fairy tale. Dad, she said, breaking the silence. What happens now? I rubbed the back of my neck, the adrenaline from earlier giving way to a cold, clear focus. Now, we take control. She wants a fight, she'll get one, but on my terms. Sophie tilted her head, curious. What do you mean? I smirked just a little. You'll see. First, we're locking this down. Come on. I led her inside, grabbed my laptop from the kitchen table, and dialed my dad while Sophie hovered nearby, chewing her lip. Donald, Dad's gruff voice answered on the second ring. What's this I hear from Pete about a truck? Camila's leaving me, I said, cutting straight to it. Try to take half the house today, but I stopped her. The place is still yours, right? Damn right it is, he growled. Rented it to you too. Never signed it over. She's got no claim. Good, I said. I need you to send me the lease agreement, proof it's yours. She's threatening lawyers. He chuckled, a dry, knowing sound. She's in for a surprise. I'll email it now. You okay, son? Yeah. I lied, glancing at Sophie. We'll be fine. Thanks, Dad. Next stop, my bank app. I logged in, heart pounding as I checked the joint account. Years of savings from my GM paychecks, Camila's freelance gigs barely a drop in the bucket. I transferred every dime to my personal account, leaving her $5 and a mental note to frame that receipt. Then I called my insurance guy, axing her from every policy, car, health, life. If she wanted to start over with Trevor, she'd do it from scratch. Sophie watched wide-eyed. You're really doing this, huh? Bet I am, I said, shutting the laptop. She doesn't get to walk away with my life. But I need to know something, sophomore. What else did she say about Trevor? Anything I should know? She hesitated, then sat across from me, picking at her nails. She said he's got money, some tech job in London that went bust, but he's got savings. She kept talking about how they'd travel, live big. Said you held her back. I snorted. Held her back? I paid the bills while she found herself freelancing. What else? She showed me pictures, Sophie admitted, voice dropping. Him in fancy suits, old ones from when they dated in college. She said he was her what if, like you were just filler. Filler. I muttered, the word bitter on my tongue. 16 years, a kid, a home, reduced to a placeholder. And you bought that? Not really, she said, defensive. I wanted her happy. But now? It's messed up, Dad. She didn't even say goodbye properly. I nodded, filing that away. All right. Tomorrow, I'm calling a lawyer. You're with me on this. Yeah, she said, firmer this time. I'm with you. Morning came fast. I dropped Sophie at school, her insisting she'd be fine, and drove to Mike Russo's office, a sharp divorce attorney I'd met at a GM picnic years back. His secretary waved me in, and Mike, a stocky guy with a boxer's jaw, leaned back his chair as I laid out. Camila stunt, Sophie's intel, the house in Dad's name. She's got nothing, Mike said, tapping a pen on his desk. No equity in the house. No big contributions to the account. Courts won't give her squat unless she's got proof. You want full custody? I paused. No. My mom's taking Sophie. Camila's too unstable. I'll pay support, but I want Camila cut off. No alimony, no assets, nothing. Mike grinned. Cold but clean. I'll draft it today, expedited. She'll be served by week's end. I left his office lighter, a plan in motion. But that afternoon, the twist hit. Sophie burst through the door after school, breathless, her backpack swinging. Dad, you won't believe this. Mom called me at lunch. I set down my coffee, wary. What did she say? She's freaking out, Sophie said, eyes wide. Said Trevor's mad she didn't get anything yesterday, and now he's saying she's got to pull her weight. She asked me to talk to you, to soften you up so she can get half the money. I stared, then laughed. A short, incredulous bark. She's using you as a bargaining chip? After ditching us? Yeah, Sophie said, anger creeping into her voice. She sounded desperate, like Trevor's pushing her. I told her no way, but she kept begging. Said she'd make it up to me. Make it up, I repeated, shaking my head. She's got nerve. What did you say? I hung up, Sophie said, chin lifting. I'm done, Dad. She doesn't get it. Pride flickered in my chest, but I tamped it down. Good call. She's digging her own hole now. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. Donald, it's Trevor. Meet me tomorrow, noon, Rusty Anchor Bar. We need to talk. No pleasantries, just a demand. I stared at it, the gears turning. Was he bluffing? Threatening? Or was Camila's soulmate already cracking under pressure? I showed Sophie. What's he want? She asked, frowning. Don't know, I said, leaning back. But I'm going. If he's got something to say, I'll hear it. And use it. Her eyes narrowed, a mirror of my own resolve. Be careful, Dad. He's a creep. Don't worry, I said, a slow grin spreading. I've got this. He's about to learn who he's messing with. As I locked the house that night, lease papers from Dad in hand and Mike's draft underway, I felt the tide shifting. Camila thought she'd blindsided me, but I was 2 steps ahead. Tomorrow, Trevor would show his cards, and I'd play mine. The Rusty Anchor Bar smelled like stale beer and regret, a dim dive on Detroit's west side where the lunchtime crowd was mostly grizzled retirees nursing cheap drafts. I walked in at noon sharp, Trevor's text still burning a hole in my pocket. Meet me tomorrow noon, Rusty Anchor Bar. We need to talk. No clue what he wanted, but I wasn't about to back down. I'd spent 16 years building a life Camila torched in a day. She and her soulmate didn't get to call the shots now. I spotted him in a corner booth, leather jacket slung over the seat, nursing a whiskey like he was some tough guy from a bad movie. He looked up as I approached, his sharp features tightening, that smug grin nowhere in sight. Good. I slid into the booth across from him, keeping my face neutral. You wanted to talk, Trevor. So talk. He leaned back, swirling the glass, eyes flicking over me like he was sizing up a mark. You're making this harder than it needs to be, Donald, he said, voice low and clipped. Camila's a wreck, crying all night, saying you've locked her out of everything. I told her you're a hard ass, but this? It's overkill. Overkill, I said, leaning forward just enough to make him shift. She tried to gut my house in broad daylight. You stood there grinning while she did it. And now you're mad I didn't roll over. His jaw twitched, but he kept his cool. Look, man, I get it, you're pissed. But she's got nothing now. No money, no place. I'm not bankrolling her forever. You've got the cash, the house. Cut her a deal, and we all move on. I stared, letting the absurdity sink in, then laughed. A short, dry sound that made him flinch. You're kidding, right? You swoop in, wreck my family, and now you want me to pay her way out? That's rich, even for you. Trevor's eyes darkened, fingers tightening on the glass. Watch it. I'm trying to be civil here. She says you owe her 16 years, man. That's not nothing. Owe her. I shot back, voice steady but sharp. I paid the mortgage, the bills, put Sophie through school. She freelanced when she felt like it, barely chipped in. You want her half? Take her to court. Oh, wait, she's got no case. He smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. Maybe not, but I've got ways to make this messy. You think I came back from London empty-handed? I've got contacts, resources. Push me, and I'll push back. A threat. Goo. I leaned in closer, voice dropping. Try it. I've got a lawyer who eats guys like you for breakfast, a lease proving she's got no claim, and a daughter who's done with her games. You've got a broke ex-girlfriend and a rap sheet waiting to happen. Who's pushing who? For a second, he faltered, eyes flickering with doubt, but then he rallied, slamming the glass down. You think you're so smart. Camila told me about you. Steady Donald, always playing it safe. That's why she picked me. I'm not some factory drone. That stung, but I didn't blink. She picked you because you're a fantasy. Reality's hitting her now. Hope you're ready for it. He opened his mouth, but before he could fire back, my phone buzzed. Sophie. I held up a finger, one SEC, and answered. Yes, off. Dad, you gotta come home, she said, voice tight. Mom's here. She's banging on the door, yelling about money. I locked it, but she's freaking out. I glanced at Trevor, who froze, clearly hearing her. On my way, I said, hanging up. Guess your pep talk didn't work. She's at my place, screaming, not crying. You might want to check your story. His face paled, but he recovered fast. She's desperate. That's on you. No, I said, standing. That's on you too. Enjoy the mess. I tossed a 5 on the table for the bartender and walked out, leaving him stewing in his whiskey. I floored it home, pulling into the driveway to find Camila pacing the porch, hair wild, eyes red. Sophie peeked through the window, giving me a thumbs up. She was safe. Camila spun as I stepped out, fury radiating off her. Donald, open this damn door. You can't do this to me. Watch me, I said, crossing my arms. House isn't yours. Money's gone legally. You've got Trevor now. What's the problem? The problem? She shrieked, voice cracking. He's broke. That tech job. It's a lie. He's got nothing, and now I've got nothing. You owe me half, Donald. I earned it. Earned it how? I asked calm as ice. Sitting on your dreams while I worked? You don't get half of my sweat. She lunged forward, but I sidestepped, keeping distance. Call your lawyer, I said. Oh, right. You can't afford one. Guess Trevor's contacts aren't panning out. Her face crumpled, rage giving way to panic. You can't leave me like this. Sophie needs me. Sophie's fine, I said, nodding toward the window. She locked you out. Your choice, Cam, not hers. That hit her like a slap. She staggered back, breathing hard, then spat. This isn't over. I'll find a way. She stormed off, disappearing down the street on foot. Guess Trevor wasn't picking her up. Inside, Sophie met me at the door, pale but steady. She's nuts, Dad. Said Trevor dumped her this morning, called her a liability. I blinked, the twist sinking in. Dumped her? After all this? Yeah, Sophie said, a grim smile tugging her lips. She thought he'd save her. Now she's begging us. I sank onto the couch, processing. Trevor's bluff at the bar, money, resources, was hot air. He'd played Camila, and she'd played herself. She's got nothing left, I said, half to myself. Sophie sat beside me, quiet for a moment. Dad, I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. About Trevor, her stories. I thought she'd stay for me. I put an arm around her, pulling her close. Not your fault, sophomore. She fooled us both. But we're done being pawns. She nodded, leaning into me. What's next? Court, I said, resolve hardening. She's served tomorrow. And when she fights, we've got the truth and each other. As night fell, I locked the door tight, knowing Camila's desperation was her own doing. Trevor was out. She was broke, and I was ready. The showdown wasn't over, but I was winning. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and tension, a low hum of whispers filling the air as I sat beside Mike Russo, my lawyer, in Detroit's family court. It had been a week since Camila's meltdown on my porch, a week since Trevor's bluff crumbled at a rusty anchor. Today it all ended. Sophie sat behind me with my mom, Ellen, her small hand gripping the bench, eyes fixed on the judge's empty seat. Camila's divorce papers had been served, and she'd countersued, demanding half my assets, alimony, and custody. She'd learned soon enough she had nothing to stand on. Mike adjusted his tie, a shark's grin on his face. She's got no case, Don. We've got the lease, bank records, her text to Sophie begging for cash. She's toast. I nodded, steady but wired. Let's finish it. The judge entered, a stern woman with gray streaks in her hair, and the room hushed. Camila shuffled in late. Her lawyer, a wiry guy in a cheap suit who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. She avoided my gaze, her face drawn, hair pulled back tight. No Trevor. Guess he bailed for good. Case of Kelly versus Kelly, the judge intoned, peering over her glasses. Let's hear it. Camila's lawyer stood, clearing his throat. Your Honor, my client seeks equitable division of marital assets, alimony, and custody of their daughter, Sophie. She contributed to the marriage for 16 years and deserves support. Mike rose smoothly, voice calm but lethal. Your Honor, Mrs. Kelly contributed minimally, financially and otherwise. The home belongs to my client's father, per this lease. He slid the document forward. Bank records show Mr. Kelly funded 90% of their joint account, which she tried to empty via an illegal move-out last week. Texts to their daughter prove she's after money, not family. The judge skimmed the papers, brow furrowing. Mrs. Kelly, you attempted to remove property without legal basis? Camila's lawyer stammered. She believed it was hers. Belief isn't law, the judge cut in. Next, alimony, Mike continued. Their incomes are near equal. Hers from freelancing, his from General Motors. No disparity, no need. As for custody, Mrs. Kelly told her daughter she's a liability and has no stable home. Mr. Kelly's mother, Ellen Kelly, seeks custody with his consent. The judge's eyes narrowed. Mrs. Kelly, you're contesting custody? Camila stood, voice shaky. I want Sophie, yes. But I need support to care for her. Donald's punishing me. Punishing, I said, unable to stay quiet. Mike shot me a look, but I pressed on. She left us for a guy who dumped her when the cash ran dry. She locked Sophie out of her plans, literally. The judge raised a hand. Enough, Mr. Kelly. Mrs. Kelly explained. Camila faltered, tears brimming. I made a mistake. Trevor lied. He's got nothing. I thought he'd save us, but I was wrong. Sophie's my daughter. I can't lose her too. Sophie stood then, voice trembling but clear. You already did, Mom. You told me to beg Dad for money. Said I'd ruin your new life. I don't want to go with you. The room went still. Camila's face crumpled, her lawyer sinking into his seat. The judge sighed, rubbing her temple. Young lady, sit. This isn't easy for anyone. She turned to me. Mr. Kelly, your stance? My mom takes Sophie, I said firm. I'll pay support till she's 18. Camila gets nothing else. She burned that bridge. The judge nodded, flipping through the file. Given the evidence, lease, finances, and Mrs. Kelly's actions, I see no basis for asset division or alimony. Custody to Ellen Kelly, support from both parents. Divorce granted. Her gavel cracked, final and sharp. Camila slumped, a sob escaping, but I felt no victory, just relief. Outside, Sophie hugged me tight, Mom beside us. It's over, Dad, she whispered. Yeah, I said, squeezing back. We're free. Weeks later, life settled. Sophie thrived at Mom's, her grades up, a new spark in her eyes. I kept the house, my routine steady, work, dinners with Soph, rebuilding what Camila broke. Then one Saturday, Sophie burst in, grinning. Dad, you'll love this. Mom's back at her old waitressing job. Trevor's gone. Skipped town after she caught him with someone else. I chuckled, shaking my head. Karma's quick sometimes. Yeah, she said, plopping beside me. She called yesterday, apologized, said she messed up everything. I told her maybe one day, but not now. I raised a brow. You okay with that? She nodded, thoughtful. She chose him over us. She's got to live with it. But we're good, right? Better than good, I said, ruffling her hair. We've got each other. That night, sitting on the porch with Sophie, the river glinting under the moon, I felt the weight lift. Camila's fairy tale crashed. Hers, not ours. She chased a ghost and lost what mattered. Me? I fought smart, kept my kid, and taught her something real. Love's not a fantasy. It's a choice, one we made every day. As Sophie leaned against me, laughing at some dumb joke, I knew we'd won more than a court case. We won us, and that was enough.